Alright, it's Travis Wayne Goodsoul. It's morning. Just got back from the run. I've got a lot to do today. While I was running, getting oxygen flowing through the brain, giving me inspiration. That's how it works. Being in the top of the mountains is difficult for many Mormons to get revelation. I'm an LDS critic, guys. Born and raised Mormon, 50 years Mormon. I've had a very influential behind-the-scenes influence in Mormons' lives, whether they realize it or not. And had several ideas for further parts to my Mormon Messiah series. And again, it's exclusively for Mormons. The audience is not intended to be Islam, so all of you Islamic fundamentalists who think you're gonna destroy Mormons or me with blazing fire, as I did the video about, understand that. It's not for you. The Quran was for self-introspection. It was not to be a call to arms to destroy the heathen, despite history proving otherwise. It's not for Jews, it's not for Christians, even though both have their different understandings of who the Messiah is. Jews believe in the Horus Messiah, Christians believe in the Osiris Messiah, and both disregard the other. Jews disregard Horus's existence, Christians disregard Horus's existence. Did I say Osiris for Jews? And so I'll be going over government, education, and His Word, by which you shall know Him. And I've been talking about that with the prophets of the church. Mormons, you know better. You know not to disregard the already confirmed Word of God with somebody new who preaches contrary to the established Word of God. This is how Christians don't accept Mormons, is because Mormons and their Golden Bible do not conform with their interpretation of the gospel narratives. And the Jews, likewise, everything in their understanding is always first referred to the Torah, the word for the Jews, for confirmation of whether something is kosher or not. That's where the word comes from. And so, likewise, if you want to get to know Him, you will know Him by His Word. It will conform to the established doctrine. It will not be some new prophet saying, hey, I'm taking away the high priesthood. You guys are no longer allowed into the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, as is stated in section 76 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Oops, did I reveal a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Oh, evil. I also did a song about Benson. I don't know how many people caught that. There was, at first, 10 likes for it, but then all of a sudden it disappeared. Similar to my post yesterday about my victory over the LDS Church. It had over 200 views and 10 likes, which is great for me. For other popular ex-Mormons, not so great, and that's why they dismiss me as being legitimate, as New Name Noah did, walking onto my site and having no clue as to who I am, what I do, and how to understand where I'm coming from, and that I'm even an LDS critic. Are you kidding me? I'm trying to look it up to see if YouTube has deleted everything from my analytics, like they did the other one. Okay, the Durban, South Africa temple is finally opened. They are taking money from South Africans now for tithing worthiness. It's a protectionist scam if you haven't been watching my other videos. Alright, my channel. Oh yeah, 217 instead of 218. But these numbers are not accurate with the channel video stats. Yeah, 218, so it all died, but it still shows 10 likes. Somebody's unhappy with my Islamic threat, and it's the Islamist who oh no, that was the other one. So yeah, somebody's unhappy. They want to destroy America. How dare you? You are a heathen. Alrighty. Let's quickly observe to see if I need to do any. Wow, 6. Man, you guys are piling it on. There's somebody hopeful the church is over with. Yeah, Laura. The FBI or CIA, they don't respond to me. I was offered to buy, and for just $9.99 extra, get this magazine clip. On my website, somebody was trying to sell me high-powered weaponry, and so I contacted the FBI, and then they said, "Did you contact ATF?" No. Okay. Do I need to contact them? Hang up on you? Oh, we'll take the call. It was a guy from, I think it was Belize, who was, the IP address was connecting him to, and I gave them all that information. Yeah. If the FBI and CIA are not aware of the current threats, you know, whatever. Let's see. If it's truly a planned attack, I doubt it would be a physical man-to-man. Yeah, it would be a bomb. That's why you use blazing fire quote from the Quran. She has a brother who's Islamist, and so that's why she's freaking out right now. It's because she knows the danger. Do not mistake intellect for comparison. He's highly intelligent. Yeah, I know him. I'm very well aware that Islamists are highly educated. At least the men, anyway. Women have struggled to get an education. Okay. She's talking about the guy I linked, the Ahmed, or Islam Ahmed, was it? Yeah, Islam Ahmed. And she apparently knows this guy. He has borne his testimony to, oh wait, wow. I don't know if it's my brother, but he's borne his testimony to me of his belief in Muhammad. Okay. She knows this guy. She knows he's a threat. Yeah. Okay. He's told me he's programmed drones for the military. Wow. Okay. Yay. Oh, and there's still, okay, I didn't go through those. Huh. Interessante. Alright. Now I'm gonna end. I have a lot to do today, I guess. I've got to download the video I did last night into the wee hours of the night. 2 minutes to midnight. And I should do a video, maybe I'll just do it with this one, because then I'll have another one in the morning after they start up their clock again. The federal courts, the judges failed to meet the deadline. Technically the deadline is tonight at midnight, but it's a federal holiday today. Except in Utah, where they say you will take the 24th of July off instead of this heathen holiday. Remember, Mormons are racist. This is why they do this. They give you the option of whether you want to take off for work for today or on the 24th of July, which is the celebration of Brigham Young abandoning the United States, fleeing the country after having had Joseph Smith murdered, and violating the prophecy of Jesus himself that said that if some guy claims that Jesus is in the desert, Utah is a desert, don't follow him. So that's the holiday, is blasphemy against Jesus Day on the 24th of July. They don't even celebrate the martyrdom. Don't have a remembrance of any kind in the church. But yet they're taking advantage of this year being a bicentennial year for his first vision, which was specifically done after the fact, because if Joseph Smith would have remembered, he was excommunicated from the Methodists after the time period that he supposedly had this first vision. So he sort of didn't pay attention. You know, when you commit lies, whether it's good lies to cover up, to protect yourself, or bad lies to get away with crime, you need to keep your lies straight. And Joseph forgot to do that, and so there's a big problem with that controversy this year, as the church then perpetuates it as if they're oblivious to that fact, by calling this the bicentennial year of the first vision. But it was intended as a further coding of the early process to justify him as being the Horus Messiah. As I went over in my Mormon Messiah series, Joseph Smith was doing all the things that the Horus Messiah would do until he was murdered. He didn't establish the government on earth. And the various branches after his death all claimed to have continued on his religion, but the religion of his is shattered. Nobody's practicing the pure religion that he had been working on, and especially the restoration of the Egyptian religion. Everybody else conformed to Christianity. So, yeah. That's the key with my video that I've got to upload here, is that Mormons don't study, ex-Mormons don't study beyond what they're told to believe. And so both Mormons and ex-Mormons are the same. The ex-Mormons still carry that baggage of believing whatever they're told to believe, even though it's now changed into, we believe whatever LDS critics tell us to believe. And that's not how you do things, guys. You're supposed to study. You're supposed to compare the word. Mormons should have been leaving the church this whole time simply by studying the Book of Mormon, learning the words of the Book of Mormon, learning what the bad examples of the Antichrist and the whole list of bad guys and the bad kingdoms and groups, such as the Great and Abominable Church. Knowing how to identify them, because remember the Book of Mormon? Remember what we're told in seminary and institute? Liken the scriptures unto yourselves. It's not just an introspection, which the Quran is intended, but it's also a protection, a warning voice to say, hey, corrupt religions, even corrupt government, will do these things. Watch for it. Avoid them. Fight against them. Contend against no church but the church of the devil. And Mormons just don't do that. They don't study their Book of Mormon, and so they don't recognize that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is perpetuating the Book of Mormon, is guilty of conforming to the bad examples in the Book of Mormon. And that's where Mormons aren't catching on to this 100 billion scandal with tithing, is that the church is supposed to be giving everything away. They're not supposed to be filthy rich as the poor suffer. If the poor are suffering, the church is wicked. Remember, when wickedness rules, the people suffer. We have people suffering, not just in Utah, but in the United States of America and throughout the world. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a worldwide church. It's corrupt because it's filthy rich as people are suffering. They're not doing anything. As I figured out after this 100 billion scandal, the percentage of giving to the poor is 0.000 and then some number that we don't know because we don't know the actual amount of money. If it's in the trillions, if you collect everything together, you need to add more zeros. Point zeros. This is how horrifying this is. Born and raised Mormon. Faithful, active Mormon. Like I said, I've been very influential behind the scenes. You guys don't know what I've been doing. You guys don't know what I failed to get away with. As I've talked about it in other videos, where I tried to have Ezekiel chapter 16 referenced to the reason why Sodom was destroyed, and take out the homosexuality. It had nothing to do with homosexuality. But Mormons refuse and get very angry if you try to take it out or tell them there was some other reason, like neglecting the poor. So, alright, I'm going on 20 minutes here. I can go on forever and ever. But my lecture series sort of took me away from doing the quick videos, just topics after topic, but oh well. So yeah, tonight at midnight is the deadline for the judges, and they're going to miss it. They are now conceding, as the judges are working on behalf of the defendant before the defendant even got their lawsuit. And so the judges now become the defense attorneys for the church, and they failed to file. And thus they concede the whole case. So sorry, new name Noah, I'm not living in fantasy land. This is according to the rules of motions. And so that's why tomorrow I'll be going in to submit the summary judgment motion, and then of course it'll have to be replied to by the 31st of January. the federal judges chose to be the lawyers for the church, and they blew it. They blew the case for the church because they weren't following proper protocol and procedure. And so I won't be allowed to do the fun tactic once the church was allowed to receive their complaint and their lawyers responding. But that's exactly what I would have done. I would have filed the same motion requesting a bar review of the church's judges of being compromised because they're Mormon. I mean, is it Hinckley and I can't remember the two Mormon names, but they're Mormon and defending the church. They pay the protection money to the church. They've done recruitment for the pyramid scheme of the church. They're equally guilty, just as the federal judges who are Mormon. Clark, what ups? Oops. And so the church isn't allowed to have lawyers that are compromised by them because that creates a violation of the code of conduct for lawyers. And because the lawyers for the church know of the crimes of the church and they are still defending them. Just sort of like Nunes being involved in the crimes for the president of which he's been impeached, and then given his little rants on his little soapbox in the impeachment hearings. No, Nunes, if you're part of the scam, you can't be on the committee. You have to resign. And nobody's pushing hard enough to get him out of there and have him implicated in all of these crimes that are going on. And so, unbelievable. But of course, we've got the GOP in the Senate who are guilty of going with Mormon John Huntsman, U.S. Ambassador for Russia, to Russia over the 4th of July holiday. They went to Russia. There's video of it as they're shaking hands with the oligarchs in Russia during the 4th of July. Our government celebrating the 4th of July, Independence Day, in Russia, of whom the investigation was ongoing about the Russian interference in the 2016 election. That's our government, guys. Joseph Smith said the Constitution would hang by a thread. And Benson said the government will not be saved in Washington. If Benson, as we all know, is a false prophet, as I did that video of his infamous April 1986 General Conference for the Aaronic Priesthood session, that means he knows something. He's an insider. He's gotten a tip because he worked in government as the Secretary of Agriculture. And so we're looking at some dangerous times ahead of us starting tomorrow. And you can be a Trump loyalist all you want, you can hate the church all you want, but they're up to something. They are trying to overthrow our government and create a monarchy again. Remember the Book of Mormon? Kingmen? King Mosiah said we cannot have a wicked king. Remember King Noah? And so I'm creating a constitutional republic with judges to judge. That's all part of the coding in the Book of Mormon. So again, like I said, I've got tons of knowledge, and I'm all alone, as I did in this video I need to upload. Mormons don't like me, ex-Mormons don't like me, and people who aren't of the church aren't in Utah, so I don't get to associate them with. And so I was communicating with a username MD. She's stopped. It's been months since I've heard from her, and so I'm kind of worried. I was able to trace her IP address to Mesa, Arizona. So unless she's a Russian plant, stupid hairs. Oh well. But holiday. But yeah, I saw people out heading off to work today that normally during non-work days are not going out to work during my run. So yeah, even at 4 in the morning, there are still people heading off to work. I mean, we're clear out in the boonies. It takes an hour to get to work. Of course, people need to beat the rush hour traffic too. All right, I'm done. As I said, I wouldn't go this long. So, yeah, I guess that's all I've got for right now.